Oh, good morning, everyone. How you guys doing? Yeah, I know it's 4th of July, and I wish everybody freedom and independence. Everyone. So, what we're going to talk today about is reactivity and aggression are fear based. Well, I got my spell check there. Let me fix that because that's already embarrassing, right? Where am I? There we go. So, how you guys doing today? You guys, everybody has coffee? Everybody prepared? Where are you watching this video from? Hi, Bonnie. How you guys doing? So, you're watching Roman with Holistic Dog Training, having a coffee, talking dog stuff. But today, we're going to go a little bit deeper and we're going to talk about aggression. What is aggression? Where is it coming from? And do we have to punishing it away? Do we have to train it away? What do we have to do with it? I claim, and please prove me wrong, that we need aggression. It's kind of like a tool to survival. And let me explain to you why I'm coming from that perspective and define the word aggression. And I know we see aggression in people is like a person, bad person, takes a knife and aggressively goes after a person, or we want to expand our country going to other countries. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about um, a state of mind to survive. So all the vertebrae have a way of being aggressive. It's kind of like how they make it out every day. They have to claim their space, they have to claim their territory, they have to claim the source, they have to claim their ability um, to be a functional member of their own community. So when we look into that, aggression starts very early in life. Imagine a puppy that is just born and it does not search for food nearby. And what does it do? It fights its way towards the mother to get the milk, right? And it has to work himself over and under and next to and in between his other siblings because everybody has the right to survive. So, this is the breeding place of aggression. It has to be that way because imagine a puppy who says, "Oh, you're hungry? Go ahead. I love you." How long will it last until that puppy is dead, giving everybody his portion of food? So I'm not saying that dogs, animals don't love, but it's not the way we think it is. So there is unconditional love, and we have these animals in their environment trying to survive by loving the environment. And so we have to see that love and aggression are very nearby. And we see that all the species try to evolve out of these needs to survive to the need to show as minimum aggression as possible in order to be able to function in that environment. So let's give another example. um, yeah, we're gonna talk about that. Um, when we see how aggression evolves, it starts with early puppyhood and trying to survive. It later evolves in not killing for it. So we see the puppy is being protected of aggression is being towards directed towards the puppy while the puppy has the right to be aggressive towards his environment, but because it's a learning curve, we teach the puppy how to be aggressive in a acceptable level, where yes, you can claim your space, yes, you can do this, and yes, you can do that, and yes, you can bark, and yes, you can bite, and you can do all this stuff that helps you in the future survive. But the family implements a family code of conduct, and it creates those upper limits. How much aggression can you place into that environment that we call family? And if the puppy goes beyond that level, then the parents step in and limit that and constrain that and put it in a order. There is no obedience in that level. It is just giving you the freedom to reach that line that family code of conduct puts in place. But fear is the reason why the dog doesn't go beyond that line. And the same fear is the one that places aggressions into that frame. If fear of life or fear of death would not make the dog go and find food, the same fear of death means don't screw up with family, because the same fear of death says if I'm not protected by my family, I'll be outcasted. I'll be pushed away, being removed from my friends and my safety, which causes my death. And it's not something the dog has a logic. And it's like, let me think why my mother kind of like snapped at me. But we have to recognize that the reason why the dog feels that way is because of this evolution over this, probably over 4 million generations, explaining the dog, man, if you do this, you're going to die. But it's not that intellectual thought of what if I wouldn't, but in reality, it is the way it works. Surviving is what causes that memory to be passed on. Because I haven't seen a dog who survived making wrong decisions because they're not dead. So all these preliminary thoughts of how to survive and how to place aggression in a certain way in your environment is what keeps you surviving. And at the end, you will be rewarded by your evolutionary project, meaning is multiply your species and evolve. So we don't have just, the genetic evolution, we have also emotional evolution and spiritual evolution. We have to see that dogs are not just animals, we are animals as well, if you see it this way. We have to see that animals have the right to claim their space, their physical space, but their energetic space as well. And if they have an energetic space, there is something that controls that energetic space. If they have to be in an evolution, there should be something they want to work for. Okay, there is this evolutionary stream that goes upwards. Evolve your species, be more emotional intelligent, that doesn't make you kill everyone in your environment. And therefore, instead of killing, dogs are learning through this evolution to play, which has a double factor: playing, learning how to survive in your environment by applying techniques that you learn from your parents and from your friends and your family members and from your siblings. And you also learn where that limit of aggression is, that at threshold line. Because as long as you're at threshold, you are able to continue learning and continue evolving yourself into that structured environment. But if you need to survive, you need to go beyond that threshold of play, to go into that threshold of threatening your environment so you keep being alive. And if that environment doesn't respond to that threat, then you have to attack your environment to survive. So we see that in this play mode, and those dogs being managed and educated in that closed family environment, they learn how to play, how to thread, and how to kill in one place. Now, Going back to our main subject, which is, yes, what video are you watching here? You're watching reactivity and aggression are based on fear. I'm going to talk about that because we need to understand first fear, where fear is coming from. Is fear something that genetic comes in through this generation? Yes, it does. And fear is what keeps you safe. And trauma is what lets you learn. And experience is what makes you applying and learn more of that. At the same time, being killed gets you nothing. So how do you avoid killing, being killed? Is by applying this magical, you know, mixture of play and aggression, threat and killing. And we need to see that from all the species that we are dealing with every day, the human species is the most aggressive one. For no obvious reason, without any environmental threat, we aggressively go after nature. Nature didn't do anything to us, but we're killing all the woods, and we're killing all the waters, and we're killing many nations, and we're killing religion, and we're killing politics. Basically, we kill whatever comes into our space that is not in alignment with our thoughts without any regulations of morals and ethics. What the dog does, he doesn't kill blindly everywhere and everything unless something is there to kill him first. So it's actually a response, a fear response. So if the dog has no threat and no fear, there's no need for him to kill you. Okay, we are back online. what what is if the environment attacks, and what is if the dog feels threatened by his environment? So the dog learns that the only way to survive in his environment is by learning how to manage his environment. Meaning is, if the nature attacks me, then I will respond with a counterattack. No counterattack, no aggression. So fear comes in and regulates that. I am afraid of my friends. No, I'm not afraid of my friends. Therefore, aggression is not there. There is a play in place. But if I feel attacked while we're playing, then I have the right to react and respond to that with my behavior. So I see many people who come in with that aspect that aggression has to be corrected. No, it has not to be corrected. It has to be framed, it has to be educated, it has to learn how to become a game rather than killing, and how the dog feels less threat. So it's a healing process, because we have to see that a dog is fearful of his environment is because either the environment is really threatening him, or the dog just feels threat because of an illusion. And where does this illusion comes from? If a dog is being punished, or let's call it abused, or he has a traumatic experience in that environment that he cannot avoid, the dog starts becoming predictable. He predicts that something will attack him. And he learns by observing his environment and his nature how this is being progressing. And I think it's a good time to share with you that actually I have a workshop coming up. You can check on my website, holisticdogtraining.org/events, where I'm going to go deep dive into addressing and healing aggression. And what we'll talk about there is that when we look into healing aggression, is we have to understand how to heal fear and how to transmute fear into knowledge. Because the reason why we are afraid of things is because we don't understand the function of it, or we don't understand where it's coming from. We don't understand the higher power behind that. And then we're scared. And then we make those decisions, okay? Aggressive decisions. I don't know if you're going to pull the trigger before me, so I'm going to shoot you first. It's a classic example, right? Um, so we want to learn in my class, for example, how to observe aggression and how to break down the reasons of that aggression. Try to find the root of that fear, if that's genetic, if that's nutritional, if that is medical, if that is a trauma experience. All these are factors. We have to check all those environmental factors before we judge the dog about his aggression. We cannot judge aggression. That's not a good thing to do. We have to look into helping the dog heal from it. And we have to look into how to help the dog recognize and understand his environment better. Do you agree with me that usually we say aggression to everything the dog does that is out of the regular context? If the dog growls, people say, "Oh, my dog is aggressive." If a dog defends himself, we call it aggression. If the dog bites something or someone, we call it aggression. All these things are happening, and we call it aggression. If the dog farts out of the ordinary, we call it aggressive farting. But ones that frustrate me most is when people call it fear aggression. It's kind of like I say, this is a caffeine coffee or a wet water. Why would you call fear aggression if aggression is made out of fear, right? We don't need to call it fear aggression, or we don't need to call it resource guarding. It is all based on fear. So all these are expression of fear, different types of expression of fears. When we call it resource guarding, we need to understand that the dog is in fear of that he doesn't keep what he has, he's gonna die. If we call it dog aggression, we're gonna see that the dog believes that any dog in front of him could be a potential threat for him for his life. And if a dog sees a person as aggressive, and we call it human directed aggression, then we have to recognize that a dog is afraid of that person and the potential of that interaction with that person. What exactly do you want to correct on that? Do you believe really there is something to correct on that? Or do you believe, after what we talked so far, there is a reason to heal what the dog perceives, that ill mindset of what's going to happen? Maybe the dog is right. Maybe making the conclusion over this period of life that he has done so far, and based on his genetic information, he sees a wolf. This is a threat for his family and himself, and it needs to be killed before it killed us. Maybe there is a genetic information that comes down the generation and is implanted in each individual cell, so the dog doesn't have even to think about it. It just comes naturally as a body response. And again, as I mentioned in my class that we have coming up, and you can find out in our website, holisticdogtraining.org/events, or workshops. If you go to my website, we're gonna learn how to identify that root and how many information centers does the dog have when the dog refers to that information. How many generations back does the body remember to call that a threat? Why do dogs bark? What triggers them to bark first and think later? And what about logic? Do dogs have logic? Do they rely on logic when they are showing aggression or feeling aggressive towards their environment? And what else do they do if there is no logic? How do they remember? Are they actually in control of that memory? Can they change it? Can we help the dog change his mindset of how he feels? Can we change genetics? Good questions, right? And we're going to answer all those questions in the workshop. However, give you a screenshot a little bit to better understand what we're going to happen. If you consistently educate your dog and your dog goes through this experience of this is a better way to survive, this is a better way to see things, this is a better way to interact, thinking before acting is a better solution to a problem that's coming up. So teaching the dog troubleshooting skills does affect genetics because A, the dog survives, and that consistent information flow is being imprinted in the body. So if we need to heal aggression, we need to help the body remember the right thing and forget the wrong thing. And who are we to teach him what's right and what's wrong if we are the threat as well? How many dogs do you think trust their owners? And how many dogs, not owners, the best description, but that's what most people say. How many dogs do you think trust their caregivers? There are statistics out there. We're going to talk about that. We're going to see that we can compare how dogs react to their environment and compare it with how children react to their environment. And yes, I will compare children with dogs, not because they are different species, because they're the same kind of belief systems. We need to survive. We need to learn. The only way to learn from our environment is by observing it, because humans and dogs are vertebrae. And at the same time, they have the same system that makes them survive. And therefore, they are reliant on that system. So we can intervene in that system because we are conscious, able to manifest and change their environment to better address it without constraining their freedom. Because the one thing that I see many times happening in dog training, that we try to address aggression by adding restrictions to that level that a dog is not free to learn. So we either micromanage the dog through classical conditioning and obedience, and we put the dog into don't think, don't do anything until I tell you so, and there is no learning process. It's just a restriction on top of another restriction, doesn't let the dog think through a process. Therefore, there is no emotional experience behind that other than do as I tell you. Is that what we want to do? Would you raise your child like this? Don't think, don't make decisions, just do what I'm telling you to do. Right? Am I wrong? What do you think? Do you think that if we would educate children the way we try to educate dog, will we have stable adults in the future? Yes? No? I need some coffee. Do you guys have coffee? No matter what breed you have, is it a Pyrenees? Is it a Mastiff? Is it a Cane Corso? Is it a Bulldog? Is it a Doberman? No matter what breed, is it a Greyhound? Is it a Saluki? All these dogs have been modified not only through breeding, but through education to teach them that some things works better. The more nose you use, the more likely you will smell it. The more attention you pay to your environment, the most likely you get that bunny. The more resistant or persistent you are, the more likely you're going to defend your herd. The faster you are, the most likely you will reach that bird. And then we see that quality, and then we say, I want to reproduce that quality. So back then, we did interfere in the genetics, and we did interfere in how the dogs think and how the dogs make decisions. But now, that we don't have that need of evolution anymore, we try to evolve a dog in a pet, which is ridiculous. It's like I try to fit the world in my pocket because I like the world, therefore I want to own it. It just has to fit in my pocket. I'm gonna shrink the world and myself to that level that it fits in my pocket. How crazy is that? But we really try to create pets. So pets will be the future of a canine. It will be, we say canis familiaris. We're gonna talk about canis pet. It's a completely new species, a species that had different colors and different shapes, and all it becomes a couch potato that is aggressive towards his environment. Is that where we want to go? Because I don't want to go in that direction, and I'm totally resisting that direction. Do I think people shouldn't have pets? No, I'm not saying that, but having a pet is one thought and it affects the genetics of that dog. What I want to have is a house dog. A house dog that is still a dog living in my house rather than a pet that is a slave and is dissociate of his environment. All he does is being scared from one moment to the other. So scared of you leaving the house, scared of not having enough, scared of not getting in time to go potty, scared of not having enough food, scared of not having enough water, scared of the neighbor dog who's growling at him, scared of people coming to your house. It's a scared pet, which is any species. We don't want that species. And those dogs and those genetics that come into surface, and that surface hits the plafond of our restrictions that we call pet, that causes reactivity. And that reactivity, if it's not addressed and the dog doesn't understand how to solve it, it becomes frustration. And then his emotion around that is the dog aggressive disposition towards his environment. How simple is that? How simple yet so complicated to understand because we just don't want that to be, because we have to change. Why us changing and we are aggressive about it? We're not changing. I'm not changing my home because of that dog. I'm not paying the bills of me fixing the walls. I'd rather get rid of that dog. That dog that resists that change has to be put to sleep, is the concept of most people. If the dog doesn't comply to my family, he has to be put down. If that dog doesn't resist, if the dog resists with aggression towards his emotional factors that affects him and tries to kill him internally, as soon as he shows that aggression, he's being shocked, punished, reprimanded, discriminated, emotionally embarrassed, shamed, because how dare he showing aggression in surviving? How wrong is that? So, and I see how many people want to train their dogs, but what are you training? Are you training a pet, or do you want to educate a dog? Because I believe educating a dog has a higher value to the evolution of a dog that we want in the future than training a dog to be compliant like a slave to our ideals of, I don't want my dog to destroy my house. I want my dog to be out of his crate. I want my dog to feed my garbage food. I want my dog to do this. I want my dog to do that. That's so narcissistic. It's not funny anymore. It's narcissist aggression towards a dog because I want my dog to fit that concept, not understanding that, hey, my dog has needs. And if I don't comply to those needs, I'm going against his nature. And if I go against his nature, it's like nature attacking my dog. That causes aggression. How do we heal that? Somebody slobbered me. How do we heal that? We heal that by changing the way we are dealing with our emotions. So if you don't master your emotions, don't touch a dog. Did I say dog? So if you don't master your emotions, you should not try to master a dog, because a dog is a concentration of emotion that made it out for 4.2 million generation and is doing just fine on his own. We just made a decision a couple of hundred years ago. Yeah, I want that beast in my house, and I want that beast to be family, not recognizing he's already family and he's not the beast. It's your fear that causes the aggression towards the dog. It's not the dog's fear, it's your fear. And your fear towards the dog that he could be a potential of a monster that has to be tamed is what causes the dog to react against it, showing aggression. So, who started it? So, if I'm a trainer and I would go aggressively towards the dog to tame him, that idea is already aggressive towards the dog. And the dog says, no barking way. First of all, you're invading my space. It's my space. I feel safe here. And you come in with your attitude, want to take my way. We're having Independence Day. Why do we have that? What are we literally having? We are thinking about our freedom. We are thinking about independence. And we're proud of it. We didn't consider other stuff. Okay? I'm not taking that in consideration. I don't want to feel everybody guilty or something. But if we think about freedom, we need to think about all the freedoms of all the people and all the species, not just ours. And if we think about how do we want to have independence, we have to recognize that everybody has right of independence. I cannot be independent by controlling and compressing that. Make sense? So, if I want to be free, I need to give that dog that ability to be as free as possible if I want him to stay in my house. Because if we look in nature over those million generations or thousands of years of evolution between dogs and people, we see that the dog was always free to be with people and he chose to be with it. Right? He was on his own in your yard. He wasn't on leash. He wasn't behind the fence. But our fear of losing the dog put the dog in a fence by confining the dog's freedom to be free to move around. Now, why do we go after the dogs? I will explain to you. And it's not unknown that we know how similar dogs and people are because they share so much genetic information about social behavior and social environment and longevity and nutrition that literally you can compare the one with the other. So it would be bad to do it on people, but it's okay to do it to dogs. Therefore, we study dogs to affect people. So there is a whole machinery behind that. We teach you how to handle dogs so you will be easier controlled because it's a vicious circle. If you learn that you have to control, you become the reason of you being controlled. So, if controlling a species is totally normal and punishing a species is accepted, we're perpetuating the system, then you have to accept that it can be done to you what you do to others, right? So if it's okay for you to shock and punish and reprimand and constrain and limit your dog's freedom, then you have to accept that it can be done to you too. Are we going in the right direction with that? Or are we being brainwashed to accept that it's totally okay to feed my dog genetic modified food? Can I feed my children? Um, if I would say yes, I would be against my child. If I would say no, I would mean I'm ignoring the fact. So I'm in a trap, and that is being used against you. So aggression is being applied to you in a very gentle way. It feels like a game. Make sense? And I don't want you to be aggressive. I just want you to learn and open your mind around that. That if you see aggression the way you see it now, you're putting yourself in a pot of aggression being applied to you. But if you learn that you can heal aggression, you understand how to resist it and how to change it and how to prevent it. If you can prevent it towards your dog, you can prevent it towards yourself, which makes you free and independent. As simple as that. But if you blame the dog, and if you do this and you do that, and then you have to feel what you see in your environment, that will be your result of your own actions. So, what do we do about that? Changing the way we are aggressive towards the environment so the environment stops being aggressive towards us. And I guarantee you, if everyone says, I am free, I'm independent, and I'm a master of my emotion, there is no way anybody else can cause aggression to you, because aggression will not exist because you are not buying it. Am I wrong? Is it a possibility? Yes, no? What do you think? Yeah, I do. And I see many times we're hiding ourselves behind um, classical conditioning, and I don't buy it. It's classical conditioning. It's it's an understanding. It's not a training method. It's not a philosophy. People think that classical conditioning is a philosophy. Therefore, if you're afraid of spiders, I could classical condition you to accept those spiders and be totally fine them grabbing on your face. Yes, no? But if I respect your emotions and say, hey, you're afraid of spiders? That's totally okay. Let me share something with you about spiders. If we wouldn't have spiders, we would be killed by other flying insects. If you tolerate spiders and you leave their space intact, they have no reason to be on you because they have their own space. They don't need you, they don't want you, but they will be at you if you put your face in it. Then all of a sudden, being respectful of our environment doesn't make us be scared, makes us knowledgeable. Do we want spiders to be on our face? No, but I have a choice and I have an option to avoid it without killing it. I ask myself if I'm killing spiders. Yeah, I do. But only if I'm impersonally attacked, if I'm not dealing with it. So if a spider jumps on me, I defend myself. Do I chase spiders with a spray bottle, try to kill them? No. I'll take a paper, I'll take them out. Let them deal with it outside, not in my house. Right? Will I be holding my second cheek if a dog attacks me? No. I will make that dog change his mind. How? By showing him respect, that I am in fault, that he feels that way, and if he's at fault that he feels my way, I will just defend myself, but I will not attack the dog. And for those people who questions, yeah, you guys have never dealt with aggressive dogs. Yes, I do. That's what I every day do. I work with those dogs that most people be aggressive, and actually don't get involved with them. I do it over distance, and I teach people how to do the same over distance. And why is it possible over distance? Because I teach people to recognize how the environmental works, how the dog is affected by the environment, and how they can modify the environment to fit the dog better so the dog doesn't make aggressive choices. As simple as that. We just have to kind of like wrap our mind around that we are the aggressors and the dogs are the victims. And we have to change our mind about that. That aggression is not what it's our benefit because I feel threatened and I'm fearful. I'm accusing my dog to be aggressive. No, that's not true. Because if I don't feel threatened, I don't see any aggression. It's just an expression of emotions. So a dog is free to express his emotions through barking, yawning, jumping, whatever he wants to do. But does it work for him? No, because I would give him a true feedback like nature does. And nature doesn't attack a dog. And nature just shows the effects of the dog's aggression towards nature. So if I take a speed and I run against the tree, is the tree aggressive towards me to open a hole in my head? No. It's my action towards the tree and the tree resistance that causes my hole in my brain. Do I have a hole in my brain? I don't think so. But I will if I speed up and try to hit the tree with my head, try to be aggressive towards the tree. That's what caused the hole. And I know it. So I avoid it. Why? Because I learned it from my first interaction with it. Ooh, tree is hard. Hard pain. Pain. Oh, wait a minute. Pain is the key of aggression. So if I can teach how to avoid pain, do I address aggression? Yeah, but if you cause the pain, then you are the aggressor. Therefore, aggression is being caused against you. Hmm, which means pain is a way for our body to learn to evolve, but causing pain teaches aggression. So, how do we manage that? It's not about us applying pain to teach the dog. That's our illusion. It's the avoidance of pain that makes things work. And the avoidance of pain is knowledge. And the avoidance of pain is already programmed in the dog's body. That something that's new and strange, the body says, no, we have an avoidance behavior. So pain is already there. We don't have to recreate it. Because if we want to recreate pain, we recreate trauma. And when we recreate trauma, we recreate aggression. We recreate aggression. We open up a new box of Pandora against us. So for those smarty pants that think that, oh, he said it, pain can fix aggression. I didn't say that. Pain is already there. It's already an experience. It's already done before humanity was even there. New things can kill you. Everybody who had that emotional experience stayed out of pain. Hmm, how does it feel to you now? Do you see that the absence of pain is what evolves things? You need help? Mugs, Mugsy, my boy. So, what do you think? What was your takeaway today? Was it worth sharing? Is it worth checking in with my workshop and see how you can add that to your toolbox without causing pain, without causing trauma, without causing fear to anyone? What do you think? For you guys, I'm gonna add the link in the description so you guys have it easier to find out. And yeah, Rachel, I agree. And you know what? There are more people killed by cars with their aggressive driving than actually aggressive dogs killing people. I still see cars driving around and I see still people driving aggressively. We learned nothing from that. And whose fault is this? We still text on the phone. We still talk on the phone while driving, right? And we still are aggressive to our dogs and to our environment. And we haven't learned anything about it. It's kind of like we dissociate. And why are we dissociate? Because we are in pain. So, because we are in pain and we recreate pain, we recreate aggression. Because pain is the food for those who wants to control us. And the only way to get out of that pain is to transmute pain into an experience and leave it behind. Let it heal instead of expressing it towards aggression. because we cannot handle it. You don't need to handle it. You need to heal it. You have to see the learning experience of it, because if you don't deal with it emotionally, it's going to express itself as aggression, and you're recreating aggression done to you towards the others. You see how that link closes? If you are aggressive to your dog, it is because you're in pain. Because remember what we says, pain causes aggression. And what we learn from that, that if I'm internally in pain, I will recreate that, because pain at some point feels being natural. And then that nature is being recreated because we just feel safe in that pain, because we are afraid to move on for it, because somebody's telling us, don't walk away from pain because you're going to get killed, which is an illusion. Exactly. And so if we think about the 4th of July, we have to think about that pain that we caused to avoid pain, because we are afraid of being free and independent. So, in cost of freedom and independence, we are attacking others and we fight others to feel good, but we're not, because it's just a temporary state until we express our aggression again. It's kind of like flare ups. Being in pain, being aggressive, find a solution, attacking the environment, feeling pain, doing aggression, and up and down and up and down. We have to kind of stop it from happening, and you can do that with your dog. A totally safe environment for you to play that evolution of healing aggression by healing pain. I know it sounds simple, but you know what? Been there, done it. And I thought the only way to get out of there is to change the way I feel about it. And to change the way I feel about it, I had to learn how I feel and let these emotions come up. And instead of expressing it in aggression, is expressing it in love. I know it's a slippery slope, but that's the way it works. And there is no way around it, whether you like it or not. That's how it is. Exactly. Healing emotional pain is the antidote to aggression, because it's born in pain. So, ah man, my coffee is almost empty. That's holistic dog training. Teaching people, healing pain, healing emotions, become masters of their own emotions, and teaching the dog how to do the same. At the same time, while we're teaching the dogs how to do that, we get an emotional feedback, and that is stored in our genetic code, which we can use later on when we try to evolve emotionally and spiritually. At the same time, we're helping the dogs evolve emotionally and spiritual. Thank you, Michelle. But you cannot come from a victim state of mind and attacking your environment because you're scared, because somebody told you you have to be scared. Where is your consciousness? Wake up. And if you look deep into you, you have this knowledge in your genes. Every time you feel weird about a thing, ask yourself, where is this coming from? Is it mine? Am I sponging something else? Do I have to direct it back where it came from? Does it actually exist? Or is it just an illusion? My dog, it's not his fault. And I open my doors to him to come in, and I have to teach him how to survive without aggression. Part of a game, teaching him how to survive through a game of social and emotional interactions that heals pain and heals trauma by teaching him a way out of it so it doesn't become stuck. And you know what stuck trauma does, or stuck emotions do? They create illness. And illness kills the dog. And I want this dog to live as long as he can with me. So that is what I wanted to share with you about aggression and reactivity. And that is fear based. And all those root out of pain. Emotional pain, not physical. Don't get me wrong. It's not really physical pain, it's an emotional pain. And that emotional pain can come down the generations. How many of you feel guilty and you cannot remember why you're feeling guilty? And you cannot remember why you want to defend dogs and why do you want to save dogs? Because all these dogs that you want to save have a piece of emotional pain as a common between you and the dog. So you guys share out of the same pot. And why is that? Why do you have these feelings that you need to save those dogs? Because you have the ability to heal them while you're healing yourself. Because you guys have the same pain at the very base. And if you look into your patterns of saving dogs, what kind of dogs do you save? What kind of dogs do you train? What kind of dogs do you work with? What kind of clients do you work with? Do you see the pattern? Can you recognize that you have a pattern with those dogs? And you want to improve that pattern. Clear one layer, heal one layer, and then move to the next layer, and then heal that layer. Well, who told you that healing animals or working with dogs' behavior is not deep stuff? That's a rabbit hole. Sorry, a dog hole right there. Right? If you see it once, if you experience it once, you cannot unsee it. You cannot just look away from it because you have to look away from your own pain, which you cannot, or you're programmed to dissociate. And that's why I do what I do, because I learned that you cannot just look away from it. You have to deal with it. Yes. Can I get weepy now? Yes. Because that comment right there was worth talking for an hour and sharing my coffee with you. That's the emotional healing aspect. It's not about dog training. And it's not about dogs. It's about healing yourself. And your dog is here to help you and support you because he's just mirroring his response, his nature towards your aggression and your pain. But not many people can actually look into that pain because it's really painful. And I know where you're coming from because I've been there. I got out of there. I'm still on the way out of there. I'm not through it. I'm not Buddha. I'm working on it. But we have to generalize that idea and share that idea because it's our way out. We have to heal as a community. We have to heal as behaviorists. We have to heal as trainers. We have to heal as rescue people. We have to heal as volunteers in shelters. We have to heal the healing center. We have to heal the shelter. We have to heal the breeders. We have to heal the dogs. We have to heal the genocide is being done to dogs. That's what we're here for to do. And if you expect anybody else to do that for you, man, you're in the wrong hole. I don't want to be sexist. Woman, you're in the wrong hole. Man with, general human man. Do you want to be in the wrong hole? Because I don't want to be in the wrong hole. I want to be the hole I belong, in that deep rabbit hole that says, heal yourself so you can heal others to heal. But helping a dog helps you heal yourself while your dog is healing you in return. It becomes a perpetuum healing mobile. Heal your dog to heal yourself, and heal your dog to heal yourself, and heal another dog to heal yourself. And The magic part is that all these dogs come in one after the other to continue that evolutionary healing process while you're healing their own, their breed genetics, their ancestors, their breed collective. So you have a dog, you have a breed collective, and you have a species collective. Like you have yourself, your higher self, and your unity. That is what I'm talking about. So dog training is not just clicker training and classical conditioning. Dog behavior and healing is deep shit. And once you see that, you cannot unsee it. Love you guys, and freedom and independence for all of you and everyone, including the dogs and the Native Americans, and whoever feels that he's suppressed should have the right to be independent. Yep. You're welcome. And if you guys need personal help and you want to go dig deeper and you don't want to be alone, welcome to message me or reach out to me and we can kind of dig a hole. Enjoy your rest of your weekend and stay safe. And of course, keep your dog safe. That's another story to talk about. But we have talked about many times.